the level of abuse that they're willing to go through. When I was going through all the stuff that I went through, I immediately realized that something was wrong, and I started raining congressional investigations down on the command. They blatantly lied in every one of their responses. I have their response to the congressional, and then I managed to FOIA all of the documents. I can show exactly where they lied to Congress the whole time. Now, my mother was the director of a major chamber of commerce in the state of Florida at the time. So she went to her political access and started raining down congressional investigations from her side. My that brigade HHD first sergeant went into my home, and this is before everybody had cell phones, went into my home, used my home phone in Seoul, Korea to call my mother in Florida and advise her strongly that if she continued, that he would make certain that I was court-martialed and sent to Leavenworth.
Wow.
Wow.
Called her from my home phone so that she would know that he was in our home.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Reminds me of another story I'll share.
And away we go.
There we go.
So, Army, first lieutenant, his wife has an extramarital relationship. He's in Korea. He files for divorce. She takes his things and lives with a guy who happens to be a cop, and she accuses him of sexual assault. The only reason
the LT
yeah, so it's the LT's the military member is the male
in Korea.
In Korea.
He's in Korea. So
that's
his
one
wife,
hell of a long penis to go from Korea to. I mean,
hey, if you got it, you got it.
That's
So
skills,
anyway,
baby.
that's mad skills.
that is mad skill. So she leaves him, moves in with this cop she's having an affair with. She accused that cop of sexual assault. The only thing that saved the cop was his body cam. He had his body cam on. So the police show up at his place, and they don't arrest her for filing a false police report and all the stuff that we would think, but they said, we'll take her out of your house. So she moves back. So then she accuses her husband of it, of DV and some other stuff. So he tries to get the guy she's having the affair with to testify, and he says yes, but the military won't allow it, to show she's got a history of this, right?
Yeah.
She is. So you're like, wait a minute. So he is put out of the military, life is ruined, and his father was an active duty guy as well. She threatened him with charges if he didn't back off, the father. So it is insane the level of power one group has with filing the charges regardless.
When you're talking about the power of reasons in vagina?
Yeah.
We're totally aware of that kind of power.
And the crazy part is, once they label them a victim, they never take it away. They don't go back and charge them. You know, you could show all this evidence and you're like, at what point do you hold them accountable? And the metaphor I use, guys, is drinking.
Well,
So if you got drunk, go ahead.
Here's the thing that needs to happen to reverse this is when these people find out that the woman that made all these false allegations is going to get a pass, they file a federal sexual discrimination lawsuit against the police department or whatever's not taking the false charges serious. And that'll pretty much force their hand. And I advise a lot of guys who do have custody of their children and the mother's not paying child support and he brings motions up and nothing ever happens. I think I've had 6 guys do this. They filed a federal lawsuit for sexual discrimination, lack of enforcement of child support laws, and guess who was in jail 48 hours later?
Wow.
Yeah, because unfortunately, that's what you got to do nowadays because men are completely disposable and expendable. And what you're explaining here is proving our point that a woman can make all of these false allegations, ruin another person's goddamn life, throw them in fucking prison with no evidence and no repercussions, even when they're caught lying. They come up with a term called, oh, well, it's unfounded. How about it's a fucking lie and you should burn for it?
So there's a program called CATCH in the military. So you've got something called a restricted report and an unrestricted. So an accuser, we call them accusers, if they make a restricted report, then they don't launch the investigation and everything. But what the catch program does is they will put it on file for, I think it's 10 years, and they never tell you. So someone could accuse you of something privately. They put it in your file, but you can't see it. And then if anybody else in that period does it, then they go to each one and says, hey, we already got this, let's get it. Stuff that people don't have any concept.
That's so unconstitutional. It's insane.
That's an absolute violation of the Sixth. You've got a right to face your accuser.
That's right.
Even under UCMJ, you have the right to face your accuser.
You do eventually, right? And eventually they allow it to happen. But there's so many constraints that they put in the middle of that a lot of guys are accepting, involuntary separation, NJP, because they know if they go to court-martial, the military will do their magic. So a lot of these guys are scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was terrified. I was straight up terrified. I was going to off myself if it came to that. I had plans to terminate if it came to that because I knew what was coming. If I went to prison after being accused of freaking child porn in the military, you know what would have happened to me in Leavenworth?
You'd die.
I'd be dead. Well, I might not even be dead. They might take their time killing me by taking pieces off or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I was terrified. And with just cause.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.